When you think of a worm, what do you think of? You can think of the Alaskan bullworm from SpongeBob, the worms from Men in Black, or even the little worm from the beginning of the movie Shark Tales. Whatever you think of, the worms we will be talking about today are very special and important. They are earth. A cool fun fact about earthworms is that they can safely eat eggshells, which I find interesting. You wouldn't think that those kind of things are edible. Earthworms are one of the better garden guests that you can have, due to their size, biomass, ability to burrow, and the fact that they can physically and chemically alter the soil. Their burrowing allows for better regulation and circulation of nutrients throughout the soil. Their size and biomass also benefits the soil by allowing their burrowing to move through larger areas at a time. The alteration of soil occurs when worms defecate. This expelled soil can be of a much higher quality than the soil before it. These factors combined are very beneficial for gardens and agriculture that are used by humans. They allow for better soil and better circulation for the crops to flourish. But wait a minute, there is some other very important news about earthworms. Breaking news! Earthworms are invasive. While they are important for humans, they can be very detrimental to North American forests. In areas heavily infested with earthworms, soil erosion and leaching can occur. This can decrease the productivity of the forest and would ultimately degrade the habitat of other animals, especially freshwater organisms.
Earthworms are in the phylum Annelida. They are more specifically in the subclass Ligocata. Ligo, which means few, and cata, which means the tiny hair-like bristles found in the body, which are also called setae. Earthworms are segmented worms that have soft bodies and that can be pink, brown, or reddish in color. They're usually only a few inches long, and they have both the male and female sex organs. They also have circular and longitudinal muscles to help move around in the dirt. Metals can be toxic to earthworms and can be very dangerous to larger food webs by the transfer of metals from the worms to predators and then to detrivores. Earthworms take up metals by ingestion of soils that are exposed to the dissolved metals in soil poor water. Toxic trace metals are not used by living organisms and can cause harm when accumulated into their systems.
Scientist J.B. Richardson wanted to research the importance of how various earthworms cycle TMMs, or trace metals and metalloids, when different types of soils were being tested. These metals tended to be classified as essential or toxic, depending on their interaction with the surrounding ecosystem. While conducting his experiment, Richardson discovered that the same species that were native to Minnesota were found in the New England sites, which were over 2,000 kilometers away. This alludes to the idea that soil or other organic material was imported from places like Minnesota into these sites, which were otherwise undisturbed forests. At the end of the experiment, it was discovered that the earthworms' levels of mercury, selenium, and lead were exceeding the tolerable levels of the earthworms' predators, which were small mammals and poultry. This makes earthworms an unrecognized source of toxic metals when it comes to these predators, even at higher trophic levels. Richardson discussed that he will still need to do more research on whether TTMs return to soil more mobilely or if they bioaccumulate in the predators of these earthworms.
Invasive earthworm species that accumulate toxic trace metals can have a significant impact on forest ecosystems by disrupting food webs and negatively affecting plant and animal health. Earthworms play a vital role in nutrient cycling as decomposers, but if they accumulate toxic trace metals, they can change the composition of the soil, leading to the accumulation of these metals in plants. This can negatively impact the growth and health of important plant species, which can, in turn, affect the health of animals that rely on them for food and habitat. Furthermore, these toxic metals can be transferred to other organisms in our food web, potentially affecting health and survival. It's worth noting that this accumulation of trace metals and metalloids can be found in both contaminated and uncontaminated forest ecosystems, meaning exotic earthworms and the associated problems can result even without local pollution. Forests provide a range of valuable goods and services, such as timber, clean water, and recreational opportunities, and are critical for mitigating climate change. By understanding and addressing the risk associated with invasive earthworms and toxic trace metals, we can better protect and manage forest ecosystems for the benefit of both nature and humans.